This video contains some harsh language and a bit of gore. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everybody, my name is Mr. K. Sardonicus. Welcome to my Vault of Horror. Thank you to everybody who is returning today, and to those who are just getting into this channel, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Tonight, since it is colder than Jack Frost's fucking taint out there, we are going to count down 6 chilling winter horror movies. Now, there could always be a part 2 at some point, but let's get in the intro, start part 1, and get at number 6.
David Cronenberg's ultimate experience in inner terror, starring Oliver Reed and Samantha Eggar. The Brood. They're waiting for you.
At number 6, we have our only David Cronenberg film in this list. What could it possibly be? Well, the thing is, this film has a winter setting and a lot of kids dressing up in winter clothing. This is David Cronenberg's The Brood. This is an insane body horror film with an insane premise that is different from any other killer children movie. Apparently this movie was so personal to David Cronenberg because of a situation he was going through with his divorce from his wife. And man, this movie really just really hones in on those feelings of being all by yourself, having to go through a horrible divorce and you're having to fight custody for your child. I don't know how that feels because I have no kids, I've never been married. But this movie is very deep about that stuff, and the gore is visceral. Though it's not like an absolute bloodbath, it gets visceral, and there's moments that will make your stomach churn. I promise you. And that's why it's at my number 6 spot.
Curtains, the ultimate nightmare.
All right, at number 5. This movie doesn't just take place in winter. It takes place in another season around near winter, around fall. But the majority of it takes place in the winter. This is the underrated 80s slasher Curtains. This is a film that is one of those horror films that makes the Hollywood industry look at itself in the fucking mirror, because there are tons of misogynistic and horrible people that will do anything to take advantage of people who are desperate to be in the spotlight or be on the big screen. And this is a very crazy slasher that once the reveal is shown, it's just like, it's insane. It really is. There's not very many characters in this movie that aren't deplorable. This is a very atmospheric and slow burn slasher that I promise that you'll enjoy, and it definitely deserves to be at my number 5 spot.
You're not leaving here. You stay, you satisfy the darkness. Every 30 years or so, the goddamn place just wakes up! And it demands new blood!
At number 4, we have our only modern horror film on this list. This came out in the 2010s, like, I believe around like 2015, I believe. This is We Are Still Here. We Are Still Here is one of the most frightening modern haunted house films and winter horror films that I've ever seen. The ghosts in this movie are brutal and are absolutely insane. Barbara Crampton, has it's one of her best roles since her coming back from retirement, and I absolutely adore this film. If you haven't seen it yet, it's free on a lot of platforms like Tubi, Pluto, places like that. You gotta watch it, especially during the winter season, and it definitely deserves my number 4 spot. At number 3, we have a 2000s vampire classic. And what one would it be other than 30 Days of Night? 30 Days of Night is a brilliant film that's based on a just as brilliant comic book franchise that has been going on for over a decade. Probably decades at this point. But it's an incredibly frightening and atmospheric vampire horror film that gets visceral very quickly. The vampires are very frightening. They're not just sucking your blood. They are biting your neck and ripping your throat out of your fucking neck and just guzzling that shit. And they will freak you the fuck out, not even hardly saying a single fucking word. And oh my god, just like, it's that movie alone makes me never want to go to Alaska, because the fact that every year, I believe it's every year, they get 30 days of no daylight. Which, I can't fucking do that shit. That would fuck my sleep schedule up so fucking badly, I swear. But, yeah. 30 Days of Night is a visceral, fun time. And I definitely recommend the comic books as well. Shit, the X-Files has a crossover with 30 Days of Night on the comic books. So, yeah, like, 30 Days of Night definitely deserves my number 3 spot.
Here's Johnny.
At number 2. Now these final two films are no-brainers when it comes to winter horror films. And I wanted to get these ones out of the way before I do a part 2 like next year, next winter. I might do it every winter season. But anyways, number 2 is Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining. Now, I know that Stephen King isn't a fan of Stanley Kubrick's version. And here's the thing. I will just stick an honorable mention right here for Stephen King's TV miniseries version of The Shining as well. But Stanley Kubrick, for some reason, he brought the winter horror to it so much more. And it was insane. I just like... It's still to this day, ever since I was a kid, first watching it, still to this day, one of my favorite horror films of all time. And Jack Nicholson killed it. Shelley Duvall, bless her heart, bless her soul. You know, she rest in peace. You know, like, all the actors in that movie did an incredible job. And I seriously think it's gonna be one of the greatest horror movies of all time for the rest of humanity. It's just that good. But only one can reign supreme. And that's why The Shining is at my number 2 spot. Now, before we get to number 1, I would like you guys to please like, comment, subscribe, and hype up this video so it gets up in the algorithm. Tell me what your favorite winter horror movies are, because I'd love to get some more ideas, but I'd love to do a part 2 next winter season. This is just a great thing that I've been making this channel. I've been gaining so many more subscribers due to my video shorts. And I really do appreciate the love and support that I'm getting from those two. I put a lot of work into those, and I really appreciate you guys giving me a lot of attention on those. So I'll continue to do all those cool videos for you guys too. So without further ado, let's get to number 1. At number 1, what else could it possibly be but John Carpenter's magnum opus, The Thing, from 1982. The Thing is one of the most intense and most horrifying alien body horror movies that you will ever see. And is literally one of the most frightening winter horror films that you will ever see in your life. You feel the cold. You feel the ice, the snow, the isolation, that these guys cannot escape this creature because there's nowhere else to fucking go. If they wanted to leave, it's nothing but whiteness, nothing but ice, snow, and just complete and utter nothingness. As they say in the tagline of this film, the human body is the warmest place to hide. I promise you, the effects from this movie by Rob Bottin and the direction from John Carpenter, the acting from everybody in this film, including Kurt Russell and what's the guy's name? What's his name? God, that's gonna kill me. Keith David. Yeah, Keith David. Took me a moment, but thank goodness I got it. But yeah, it's a fucking masterpiece. And I'm glad that it's gotten the love it deserves over the last several decades. And it definitely deserves to be the #1 spot. And that is it, everybody. Now, once again, I'd like to ask you guys, what are your favorite winter horror movies? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this list. And don't forget to, once again, like, comment, subscribe, and hype up this video so you can get the algorithm going. And until next time, take care.